Today again, I must thank Mrs. Venugopalan for singing such a beautiful song about the Devi. I was very much impressed the way Patrick told you that they are confident that they can solve any problem. That's what it has to be. That's the sign of a Sahajogi who has reached a very great height in his understanding about himself and about others. The chakra of the goddess lies behind the sternum bone in the spinal cord. This chakra is placed above the Bhavasagara, above the void, as we call it in Sahajoga. And the bridge that has to be crossed by the bhaktas, by the seekers, is guarded by her. She is the one, she helps her children to come through that passage when there are negative forces trying to attack on a seeker. This chakra is placed at the back of the sternum bone, as I told you. In childhood, the antibodies are formed in the sternum bone. They are the warriors or the Sainikas of the Devi. Until the age of 12 years, they grow and multiply, and ultimately they all get distributed all over the body. And a human being is made able to face any outside invasion on him. These antibodies know how to fight. They are extremely confident and they know who are their enemies. They have all these messages built in themselves. So when the anti-God element enters into the being through any process, say through food, through words, through action, through devilish people, or black magic, these antibodies combine together, collectively fight the invaders. Those who do not have their central heart properly developed suffer from tremendous insecurity all their lives. When they are children, you try to control them by frightening. These children later on become extremely insecure. They are afraid of darkness, they are afraid of night, some of them are afraid of everything. because the antibodies that are built in the body are not sufficient in number. And being this center so weak, the person feels extremely insecure. Later on in life, when the child goes to the school or he tries to work, out something for the future, then also his confidence can be shaken by parents, teachers and outside people. So it is very important to understand children who are growing. In the West, they analyze everything and try to put human beings into compartments. First, the child is a child according to them. Child has no innocence and is extremely selfish. Second part is adolescence, which they think is a very arbitrary, moody stuff. In India, we do not know that there is something like adolescence. Now these adolescent people form a group and they start criticizing or making fun of all the elders. At a very young age it starts. First they make fun of the teachers, then of the parents, then of all the people who are senior to them. They start becoming extremely active in their brains because they see too many televisions and things like that. And then they start behaving at a very young age in such a violent ways that one cannot imagine. I used to live about 25 miles away from London. And every time I would go to London, I would find some children doing some sort of a mischief somewhere. But one day some of them entered into my compartment. And they started pulling out all the covers, thrusting their knives into the seats, opening out all the upholstery. I was just sitting and watching. So I said, "Now are you tired? Please sit down. What's the problem?" They said, "We are all very angry." I said, "For what? Why are you angry?" I said, "We are just angry." I said, "But you have to be angry for something." They were children going to good schools, definitely wearing very good clothes. And then I had to, when the train stopped, I called the ticket collector and told him that these boys have been doing all this hooliganism in the compartment and you better look at it. And he came in and he said, "This is a common thing." And then somehow or other he took them out. But the only thing I felt about them is that all of them had their center heart catching. On the Kundalini, they are catching their center heart. But when they saw me, they sat down. They were quiet. They listened to me. I settled their center heart. And most of them said, "We are angry with our mother." Why? Because our brothers are angry. But why your brothers are angry? Then I discovered that Freud has given these funny ideas against the mother. Mother itself, can you imagine? What an anti-God activity it is. To an India, mother is the primal thing. Any Indian. Because his sense of security lies in the mother. Even if the father is hot-tempered, is angry, still they depend on the mother. Because mother knows when to get angry and when not to get angry. She has the discrimination. And she is the one who protects them. The idea of mother is completely blasted in the West. And this is the reason why the children of that country feel so insecure, and when they grow, they are extremely insecure. You won't believe that all the time they are polishing their brass, cleaning their house, but not even a rat enters their houses. And if they have to talk to someone, they'll make a person stand outside and talk from inside, especially in London. Because they're literally frightened. Nobody will believe the British who ruled us are such frightened people. But they are. They are frightened of each other, they are frightened of themselves. The reason is the center heart is absolutely weak. I have told you the first reason, the family insecurities. The child does not know when he comes back from school whether his mother would be there or she would be gone. They don't have mothers who can bear a lot from the husbands and smile and show no signs of their agony to their children. But the mothers in that country I have seen always try to use their children from all kinds of emotional blackmail, you can call it. They try to torture the child by telling all the things the husband is doing to them and whatever is the problem they are facing with the husbands. So the child is not secured by the mother, but on the contrary, child starts giving security to mother there. At a very young age it starts, and the child becomes extremely negative and left-sided. He feels that he is born in a place full of hatred, insecurity and fear. When the bhaktas are born in those countries, they are also the same way. Because they think if they have to go to a guru, the guru, as known so far, tortures them or extracts all the money, takes their pariksha, tests, and he sometimes leaves them high and dry on the streets. But in our country, the goddess has taken incarnation many a times. Thousands times she has taken here her birth. Whenever the bhaktas called her, when they are pestered by the negative forces, she came on this earth to save them. These things used to be just accepted by people, but never were really accepted in their hearts. People thought these are some sorts of mythological stories, that the goddess came on this earth and she tried to save the people. They could not believe that there could be a Shakti who could be born, who could fight these horrible Rakshasas and kill them and save her children, her bhaktas, from agony. It was too much. But today in Sahaja Yoga, you have seen that when Kundalini rises and stops at the center Nabhi, you have to say the mantra of Jagadamba and the Kundalini rises. That means she resides in the center heart, and when she is being worshipped, the Kundalini rises. This center has got 12 petals. But the goddess has 1,000 hands and 1,000 eyes. She has 16,000 nadis to work out her different aspects of enlightenment. But the first thing she has to do, through her generosity and kindness and compassion and patience, she has to suck in the sins, the papa vimochini, the sins of human beings. One of the sentences in Bible was, wages of fear is sin. Or you can put it the other way round, the wages of sin is fear. If you have fear, you are committing a sin against yourself and against God. Because if Mother is Almighty and she can solve all your problems, you are under her protection, then why should you have any fear? That means you don't believe that she is that powerful. When a person is frightened, this center starts breathing fast, giving rhythmic instructions to all the antibodies. With that, you feel you are getting a palpitation in the heart. This palpitation is nothing but a signal to all the antibodies to fight the emergency of an attack. But when somebody builds up insecurity later on in life, it becomes a physical problem. If they have insecurities earlier, it is an emotional problem. But later on in life, when one develops a insecurity, any kind, like a wife is insecure about her husband. Husband is a loafer or a bad man and carrying on with other women. So that motherhood of the wife is challenged. And when her motherhood is challenged, she may get the weakening of the center, by which she may suffer quite a lot and may have even breast cancer. These insecurities can be also self-made, imaginary. People can just think about it and build up some sort of insecurities which are of no actual existence. But such fears are very much more in the West, because the life in the West has no mooring, has no explanation. Whatever you ask them, they'll say, what's wrong? A husband will say, what's wrong in having a keep? And the wife will also say, all right, if he wants to have a keep, let him have it. In India, no woman would tolerate such a situation. She would starve, she would do everything, but she will never touch a man who has a keep. So the basis of the strength of Indian women is their sense of chastity. The sense of chastity in the Indian women is so great that nothing can deter them as long as they are chaste. But if they are not chaste, then fear settles in them very fast. Chastity is the strength of women. And that's why those women who have fear mostly have a problem of their chastity being challenged. A woman who is frightened that her chastity may be disturbed also can develop a problem with the heart chakra. Such women can develop breast cancers, breathing troubles, and other kind of frightening diseases on the emotional level also. This chakra is ruined in women when they lose their only child, because their motherhood is finished, they feel. And that is the worst thing that can happen to a woman, if she is a woman. But if she is not a woman, she doesn't feel much, and she just behaves in a very manly way. And that's what I've seen in the West, that women really don't much care when their children die. But it is because they are not women. If you are a woman, you definitely feel for your children and their death. But after some time, such a woman comes back again, and she accepts the life as it is for the sake of her husband, or maybe if she has more relations or other children. She becomes extremely powerful as a reaction to what has happened. That's only possible if your center of heart is all right. Such women do not grudge, do not complain, are extremely serene and can bear up lots of things. They are extremely tolerant and can go to any extent to help their children. But they are never spoiling their children. They never spoil their children because they understand spoiling is much worse than beating the child. They never spoil the children nor ever pamper them and never get dominated by their children. They know I have to guide the child and I have to look after the child. So they look after all the ideals and the righteousness and the virtues of the child. And if he tries to get out of it, they go all out to win him over, back to virtue and to better life. But those people, those women who do not care for actual growth of the child may just avoid it and escape. In the men, this chakra is caught up if they have lost their mother very early, or if their mother by chance is a very cruel woman. Also this chakra can be caught up by men if they have been to wars and if they have seen frightful things in the war. Such people could be extremely emotional and could be easily be fooled by people who try to win over their emotions. What is to be done to improve this chakra? In Srdce Yoga, we have many techniques by which we can improve this chakra and get your confidence back. As Patrick has said, that he never used to speak. And I have seen many actors who act very well. And when they came to my program, they said, "Mother, please don't ask us to speak because we just don't know how to speak. We can act, but we cannot speak to people." And I tried once and twice and they ended up with 2-3 sentences mumbled down and sat down. I found out all of them had this chakra very badly damaged. Perhaps they lacked the love of their mothers, perhaps they did not love their mothers, or perhaps maybe that they did not understand the value of virginity in women. So those men who try to look at every woman who passes by Those men who try to have lusty eyes can also develop this center very badly. And lots of problems can come through this center. One of the problems that comes through this could be lung cancer. But I have seen this center is very badly affected also by certain negligence in life. Like some people have a habit of having a very hot bath and then coming out of that hot bath and entering into some cool place. Such people will catch this center very badly and they will have a problem. Then there is another thing which looks very simple, but many people have a habit, especially summers, to wear a one single kurta or single shirt and not the undershirt. This is also not proper. A man must always have something under his shirt, otherwise when it starts perspiring, he can get trouble into this heart center. This heart center is caught up by various emotional problems in human beings. Husband and wife, if they all the time quarrel, there's always quarreling in the house, especially if the mother is very dominating, the child develops this center. And if the father is very dominating, the child develops the heart itself. So it is very important that husband and wife should never quarrel in the presence of their child. Now there resides in this center the incarnation of the goddess who came on this earth thousands of times, and she resides there for your protection. But first of all, you have to be worthy of her protection. When she came on this earth, many a times, her body was made by various forces, as if she was like a bubble, and the bubble was covered by so many things added on to that. And that's how she got lots of things from various gods. Like her hair she got from Yama, the god of death. Her nose she got from the god of wealth, Kubera. And her ear she got from the Pavana, that is air. Like that, her body was made specially by the essences of these great deities who donated their essences to the goddess to be equipped to do these multifarious activities. Now the first activity, as I told you, of the goddess is to save her children from the negative forces. So she looks extremely mild, sweet, but she can be extremely violent, in the sense she can kill or crush anyone who tries to overpower her children. Ati Saumya, Ati Raudra. These two temperaments exist only in the goddess, because she is the mother, and at any cost she wants to save her child. Also towards her child, when he goes beyond a point of understanding, when he shows no sense of discipline, then also goddess can pull him down by certain methods that she adopts. Now first of all is that she gives all that is needed to remove the fear from the mind of sadhakas. Secondly, she cures the center by giving birth to additional antibodies in the body, and by vibrating the tired antibodies to act in a way that they can fight back again. Even in day-to-day life, she may establish her existence by showing lots of miracles to her children. We had a lady coming to see me, and she was rather late. And when she came back, I asked her what was the problem. She said, no, there was no problem, but my bus fell down about 20-30 feet down, and the thing rolled down and fell on the ground with all the 4 legs intact. And all of us in the bus were saved. But the driver got upset and he ran away. So somebody who was in the car, who knew how to drive, came down and he switched on the car, and the car started moving. And we came back then to Bombay. So on the way they started asking, there must be some saint sitting here. Otherwise, how can we be protected? Only a saint can protect us like this. She was wearing my ring. Oh, they said, this is Mataji's disciple. They all started falling at her feet, saying, oh, you have saved us, you have saved us. So there are many miracles that take place in your life. When you see an accident taking place, suddenly you find the accident is over. There was one fellow who was a journalist called Marathi. He and his friend, another journalist, were coming from Lonavala down. And it's a very big slopey road, ghat, and their brakes fell. And the driver said, now the brakes have failed and you take God's name. And they started remembering their mother. And suddenly they saw a big truck coming ahead. They were about to bang onto that. They closed their eyes. And God knows what happened. They opened the eyes and saw the truck was going upward and they were moving forward without any difficulties. And they were amazed how it has happened, as if somebody has lifted their car and put before the truck and they have been saved. And the driver also closed his eyes and took the name of the mother. It is possible. It has happened with so many people that they do not know how it works out. So one has to believe that we have the mother within ourselves, in our heart. And if she is awakened, she is going to look after us. She is going to give all the protection that is needed. And there is nothing to be frightened of anything.